Hi boys, this is the story I'm going to read you today. Look, The Tale of Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter. Once upon a time there were 4 little rabbits. Their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail and Peter. And they lived with their mother in a sandbank under the root of a very big fir tree. That's where they lived. "Now, my dears," said Mrs. Rabbit one morning, "you may go out to play. You can go in the fields or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden, because your father had an accident once and was put in a pie by Mrs. McGregor. Oh no, so now you run along and don't get into mischief. I'm going out." So Mrs. Rabbit took her basket and her umbrella and she went out into the woods, and she went to the baker's and she bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. Delish. Well, Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. That looks nice. But what did Peter do? Well, Peter, who was very naughty, he ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden. Uh-oh, I just saw a rabbit. I wonder if it was Peter. So he ran to Mr. McGregor's garden because that's where he could get some treats, and he squeezed under the gate. What treats do you think he got? Well, first he ate some lettuces, and then he ate some French beans, and then he ate some radishes. Delicious. But he ate too much, so he felt a bit sick and had to go and look for some parsley. That's what rabbits take when they feel sick, like medicine. But round the end of the cucumber frame, who should he come across but Mr. McGregor, who was not happy to see Peter Rabbit eating his vegetables. So Mr. McGregor jumped up and ran after Peter, waving his rake, saying, "Stop, thief! Stop, thief!" Uh-oh. Peter was most dreadfully frightened, and he rushed all over the garden. He'd forgotten his way back to the gate, and he lost one of his shoes in the cabbage patch. Can you see it? I think the robin has seen it. And then he lost the other shoe amongst the potatoes. Oh dear, Peter, you're in a pickle. And then it got worse, because after losing them, he ran on all 4 legs and went faster and faster and faster. And he might have got away altogether, but he got caught up in the gooseberry net, and the large buttons on his jacket got caught. It was his blue jacket with the brass buttons. Oh, he was in such a pickle that he gave himself up for lost and shed big tears. But his sobs were overheard by the little sparrows, and they flew to him in great excitement and said, "You can do it, Peter, you can do it." So Peter wriggled and squiggled and squirmed and got out of his blue jacket just as Mr. McGregor came up with a big sieve to put on his head. Oh, and he got away. Phew! But he had to leave his blue jacket behind. And do you know what Mr. McGregor did with the blue jacket? I'll tell you. Let me show you. 1 minute. Let me find it. What did he do with the blue jacket? He hung up the blue jacket on a stick with the shoes, put it in the garden to scare off the birds. Peter didn't stop running or look behind him until he got home to the fig tree, and then he flopped down upon the nice soft sand of the rabbit hole and shut his eyes, and his mother wondered what on earth he had done, because that's the second time he'd lost a jacket and his shoes in a fortnight. So I am sorry to say that Peter was not very well that evening, and his mother put him to bed, made him some chamomile tea. But Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail, well, they had bread and blackberries and milk for their supper because they were good little rabbits. So that was the end of the tale of Peter Rabbit. He was a naughty rabbit, but he was lucky that he got away from Mr. McGregor. So that's the end of that story. You've got a little Peter Rabbit, haven't you? You should find your Peter Rabbit and you should give him a kiss and say night-night.